I'm going to ask you to do something for me. Let's call it a personal favor. As we race towards the end of the year, I'm going to ask you to put yourself first. And I don't mean temporarily or lightheartedly. I don't want you in the back half of January to look back and think, well, that was a good start and then it just fell by the wayside. I'm going to ask you to be honest about your current situation, how you spend your time, and where you're going. Because if you're listening to this and you're in North America, a full half of you will work for a small company. And in my experience, small companies are no better at setting, maintaining, and delivering on their promises than you are in the second half of January, having given them up. Which means that the tides of your career are entirely tied to the vicissitudes of a boss that you don't like, don't respect, and don't believe in. Yes, that's an unkind read. There are many good managers in these small businesses that I'm describing. But the fact is that if we take those people at face value and let them dictate how your career goes, that's as good as chance. And leaving something as important as how you spend most of your life to chance is not something I want for you. If I scrub back almost a century, my uncle went to work for a firm at 15 years old. He left school in the UK and went straight, uneducated, into this firm as an apprentice. And he spent 50 years of his life working for a single company. And upon retirement, he received the gold clock and the handshake from the people that he'd worked with for the past several decades, learning his discipline. And that story is now an anachronism. That's not going to happen anymore. That's as good as me talking about the dinosaurs. And this favor that I'm asking you for is entirely about love. And it requires thinking introspectively about the people you work for, because we don't work for companies, we work for people. And you need to be honest about the people that you work for. There are no good people and bad people. There are no good companies and bad companies. As an aside, there are plenty of bad people, but let's just put that to one side for one moment and talk about the most important thing, which is fit. There are only good fits and bad fits. When it comes to choosing how you spend your time and who you spend it with, personally or professionally, there are only good fits and bad fits. And if the person you work for always puts today over tomorrow in terms of the importance of what you're working on and how it influences your career, probably it's not a good fit. And I'm asking you to put yourself first if your employer or the person you report to puts you last. You need to think about your career a lot more than you think about your current job, because your job, the one you currently have, may just be a stepping stone to where you want to go. And many of you working in these smaller companies are going to find your current climate dysfunctional. And now at the turn of the year, there's never been a better time to think about a better future for yourself and to have the vision for yourself and your career that your current employer does not provide you with. Everyone's heard the advice that you should dress for the job that you want. I'm asking you to behave for the career that you want. In EOS, the entrepreneurial operating system, they define a successful business as one which operates with a crystal clear vision that is shared by everyone. They have the right people in the right seats. They have a pulse on their operations by watching and managing a handful of numbers on a weekly basis. They identify and solve issues promptly in an open and honest environment. They document their processes and ensure that they are followed by everyone. They establish priorities for each employee and ensure that a high level of trust, communication, and accountability exists on each team. Honestly, does this sound like a place that you work in? Are those priorities shared by your employers? Do they make them clear to you? Do they put your career first by pushing you to learn and maintaining a standard that they want to uphold? In my experience, not so much. And as such, You may be, by definition, the wrong person for the right seat. Again, there are no good or bad companies. There are only good and bad fits. And the fit can change over time. Even if you have a terrific manager that you respect, who prioritizes your career over the current job and the emergencies of the day, they will eventually leave and you can expect change. So again, I'm asking you to prioritize your advancement over your investment. And when safe to do so, I want you to say no more. People don't realize that, used sparingly, a well-placed no is far more meaningful than a predictably polite yes. And yes, that is more than a little rich coming from a white guy, but it's the turn of a new year, and I want you to try to push the ceiling, test the waters, and to take chances on finding things that were there all the time, but which you just could not see. And the give and take of saying no more is giving to get. And what I mean by that is that you're going to go to your colleagues and you should know already what causes them pain. And you're going to offer to take as much of that burden off of their shoulders as you can meaningfully manage. If, and it is a big if, that new responsibility advances your education and increases your ability to move up and onwards in your career. On top of this favor that I'm asking you for, I'm also going to ask you to learn this golden rule and keep it in mind throughout this year. If something only makes you more tired and teaches you nothing, then you're risking your energy for nothing. I'm not asking you to use EOS. I'm not asking you to define year-long goals that are going to be hard to sustain. I'm asking you to simplify things and to put into the context the people you work for and how much they champion your career versus your current role. I'm asking you to be honest about who you're working for. And if that degree of honesty and introspection produces some ugly thoughts and ugly conclusions about who you work for, that's okay. You don't have to be perfect now. You just have to move forward meaningfully towards better. And by better, I mean better for you. I want you to be happier. I want you to look back at this moment and realize it was the moment you decided to change everything for the better. Because if you want this next coming year to be better than the one you just had, you need to be thinking about planting seeds now, nourishing them and caring for them over time so that they can grow and sustain you in the coming year.